Does that mean it's going or not?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the meter. There we go.
Ah, we're on. Okay. So we're on now.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Look, been a while since we've been up here for a while. A few things have taken place recently that put us back a bit. This particular presentation doesn't have a video. It sort of doesn't have a video to link to, and it doesn't have actually an article. It's something completely different. And it relates to something that's happened over the last 12, maybe 15 years we've been doing this. People seem to think we've made an inordinate amount of money out of this, and I can tell you that's one thing that isn't true. We've made nothing out of this. In fact, it's gone the opposite way. If it wasn't for a group of people who've made donations, and I mean financial donations, this wouldn't have happened. And I want to start by basically just listing a few people and publicly acknowledging what they've done to help us. And the people who come to mind is Richard, Fiona and Mark, Shane, Juanita, Peter, and Gabrielle quite recently have all made financial donations which we've used. None have gone towards an overseas holiday. None have gone towards a new lounge or a car. They've just gone back into this. It costs a lot of money to do this, and quite recently something different has appeared. And I'm just going to stand away for 1 second because you'll see a little bit of it behind you. Now it's a little bit hard to tell exactly what's going on there because it's a distance away, but it's a massive painting. And quite recently Peter contacted us, an original man, and he told me his story about how he does paintings. And what he does, there's a lot of original painters around at the moment, and some are doing old way stuff and some are doing commercial stuff, and they're not the same thing. And I'm not criticising either group, I'm just saying they're not the same. I'm not saying one's better than the other, it's just a common standard fact. They aren't the same. Now, what Peter does is he goes and talks to elders who tell him stories, and then he goes back and puts these stories to paint. And what he also normally does is when he sells one of those paintings, 10% goes back to the elder. It's like a reciprocal arrangement between the storyteller and the painter. And it reminds me a lot of how Clifford Possum Jappeljara used to paint, where he would paint along with other women, would help him painting, and then his cousin would stand above him and say, you can do this, you can do that. And I do know on occasions some of the painting was blacked out later on because his cousin decided it was too secret. Now, what's taken place quite recently, and it's quite opportune at the moment because things have been a bit tough around here, is that painting you see in the background there. Now, on our attached website there, we actually have a link to have a closer look at this painting, a link to his actual gallery where there are many other paintings you may want to look at. This one's quite expensive, and I'll explain why in a sec when we get to it. And there's also within that a link to a talk that Peter did about this type of painting he does. He's got a series of them at the moment that was interviewed by the ABC, and he had a chat about how this painting came about. And rather than me try and explain how this painting came about, if you are interested, go to the link and listen to what he's got to say. We also have on now an invitation to an event coming up this Sunday, which again is free. And it's a recap of what's happened since the ceremony that took place the 21st during the solstice last year. I want to sort of sum up some things that have happened and where that's taking us to. And that one's free for anyone to come along and listen to. And then we've also got a link to the next paid one, which is now up. Now, that was supposed to be on this weekend and it's been put back a month. Now, the reason's very simple. Firstly, we didn't know when we put that up and advertised that, and it's up in Nexus, we didn't know we were doing one in December. That only came about in about a 12-day period when we were forced into it. And owing to the fact that since then we've been flat out, and one of our group's quite sick at the moment, and a few other things have taken place, we've put it back a month. So, ladies and gentlemen, The one that was supposed to be on this month is going back to next month, and that's about the first yarn. And in that, two elders, Trudy and Matthew, are going to be talking about the first stories, the beginning stories, and we're going to join in with some archaeology that relates to the Standing Stone site, which is also a beginning story. And we're going to focus on the beginning story because in that were hints on how we should behave and how we didn't behave and why we got to the stage we did. So, let me tell you a little bit more about that painting, the one that's behind my head, which I'm going to move away from again. They're all people. They're all images of people, and there are literally hundreds upon hundreds of different people in different poses. And of course you can't see it from this distance, but if you're interested, go and have a closer look. And you'll see close-ups. And none of the people are touching, but it's called That Which Binds Us, and it's about the stories about humans, how they're all interrelated and how we are all part of one massive family. But in this particular family, we don't have to touch to be part of that. Look, I don't want to go into too much detail because it's really important you listen to Peter's explanation when he was talking to the ABC, where he can give you a greater detail about what this painting's about. Now, Peter runs a gallery. Okay, and he does quite a few paintings. If you want to have a look, all different styles of painting, because every different story is different. And these series of stories, one quite recently, similar one to this, was sold for $3,300. And I also happen to know that one of the top art galleries in Australia is very interesting in covering this sequence in his work, and I think that's going to happen very soon. And you'll find that the prices of his work are going to rise very quickly. Now, this particular painting, what happens is he gifted it to us so that we can continue doing what we're doing and go to the places we go to. I mean, I was going to go down to Gaiungan to work with some people down in that area. I've had to put that back a couple of weeks owing to the fact there's a little bit of a health issue down in Sydney and in the Central Coast at the moment, with a new variant turning up at the moment, which we don't want to talk about, and we don't get involved in that sort of stuff. It's not our interest at the moment, and we're involved in it, but it's not something we talk about. Now, that all costs money. It always does, and everything we do costs money. Even running these free workshops cost us a lot of money, and if people don't make donations to us, we wouldn't be here today. And all those people from the past, some have made some fairly sizable donations. Quite recently, Gabrielle gave us quite a fair amount of money, and we spent most of that in advertising the actual 21st event. Earlier on in the piece, I know Rich Clark was very kind with the money he gave us, and he's responsible for the skull we've got, which cost a lot of money to put together. All of those people have been integral. Now, what Peter's doing is not offering us money as such, he's offering us this painting. And what we're saying very simply is it's a magnificent painting. It's quite massive in size. I want to make a point. My wife, as some people may know, is an artist who's done very well in contests in this country, and actually quite recently got in for the second time into the World Masters for watercolours. And I think there was only something like nearly 4,000 paintings, of which just a little over 200 got into the finals, and Dell's done that 2 years running. And she made a comment, and she said, if I had the money, I'd buy that and I'd pay $6,000 for it. Well, you're being asked to pay less than half of that if you'd like to do it. And remember, you get a story that goes with it, and it's a traditional way of painting where Peter sits down with the elders, hears the story, and then takes his interpretation of that. This is done old way, and he's got his own full-time gallery up near Noosa at Tewantin, and he makes a living from selling his work, and he's been doing that for quite some time. So you're not picking up a painting from someone who's just having a go at this for the first time. He's renowned around Australia, and as I said, one of the top galleries in this country is very interested in his work, and he'll be finding out about whether they're actually ready to exhibit his stuff towards the end of this month. But in the meantime, here's an opportunity to get a painting which we know is worth more than what he sets a price for. And in return, what that does is it keeps us going through this year. I mean, honestly, the painting ones we do, ever since we did the one last year, I mean the year before last actually, where we had a lot of people who came, hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. Straight after that, those people involved in all those different social networks worked out what was going on. We can't get to anyone now. We really don't get. We get about 1/8 what we got in December 2 years ago of people coming there, because the rest just don't know about us anymore. It's just the way it is. So this is a way for us to keep our head above water and keep us working on what we're doing and seeing out the whole of this year, because we believe the third ceremony that takes place at the end of this year is the final ceremony. Then after that, things change. And that's our major focus. That's what we're going to be talking about. So ladies and gentlemen, what I would ask you to do, yes, it's $3,300. That is the standard price for his work at the moment. Believe me, that's going to change, because his painting, there is no other painting you're going to see any other artist has done anything like that. Remember, every one of those marks is a complete human being in a different pose, and no two poses are the same. It looks like it's just a mass of black, but get close to it, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll find it's a huge picture, and it's got a huge story about one massive tribe that right now is getting splintered all over the place. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a financial position to do so, have a look at it. And if you're not, but you've got a little bit of money, go and look at his gallery. He starts with three-figured paintings, I mean like 300, 400 for smaller ones, and it goes up. You may not have the $3,300, but you might have $300 or $400. And it might be nice to have some painting there by somebody who does this old way. The way it used to be done was it was a collaboration between the storyteller and the painter, and they worked together that created something that visually represented what was said with words. And that's what he does. Every one of his paintings is a story given by an elder, and like I said before, in those occasions where that's happening at his gallery, every time you buy something there, the elder gets 10% of it. And that's as thanking him for telling that story. And it used to be that way. Everyone shared. And that's what Peter does. So look, if you're interested, have a look, go to our website, go to this, wherever it is now, and you'll find there's all sorts of links there at the moment. And I suggest if you are in a situation where you want something stunning in your house, that I'll guarantee you when you come in there, you'll be looking at it for quite some time. You've got to look at the close-ups to get a real good feel for what this is about, ladies and gentlemen. But I can assure you, once you look at the close-ups, you'll get what you're seeing there. And it is an amazing story. Okay, soon up, we've got another. I've had another article ready to go up for quite some time, and we'll put that up soon. But for now, I didn't want to put this in with the last one we did about 4 or 5 days ago about our trolls, because I don't believe such a negative story belongs with something like that. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested, let us know. Contact us if you want to actually purchase this item. And remember, it goes to a very good cause at the moment, which is the three of us. That's Leah, Evan and myself. And as I've said before, 2 of those people, ever since this epidemic, they both lost their jobs. They haven't had a job since then. So for them alone, this is survival. And this is survival money. So if you feel like you want to help... by the way, I want to make one other point. When I thank people, I forgot one group. Our subscribers. You're part of that too. And some of our subscribers and other people have made one-off donations, and I can't remember all of them. But I want to thank you, because every time a donation was made or a subscription was made, none of this gets wasted, I can tell you. It keeps us alive, and it keeps us going to places, and it keeps us doing what we're doing now. So thank you in advance if someone does decide they feel this is a worthwhile painting that would serve a wonderful spot in your house, and it would. And for those who don't have that money, can I strongly recommend, go and look at his other stuff there, and if you find something you find that's interesting, let him know you saw it through us, and that helps us also. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a stunning piece of work, and it deserves a wonderful home. I'm hoping someone amongst us would be interested in joining in with that. In about a week or so, I'll get back to you with another article and we'll talk more about our next online conference. And for those that want to, we've got a free one coming up this weekend. We're trying to do free ones as well, and we thank you for that. And we also do private talks with our subscribers at a different time, but we'll set that up soon too. Until next time, thanks for being with us.